Good morning, everybody. Oh, it is going to cause an echo. A little bit. I was moves on into the living room, or
Maybe I probably turned mine off.
oh, your mic. All right. I think is the echo gone? Or are you still on mute? So I hear a little bit of echo from you. That or I can go upstairs. I'll just make my way upstairs. I'll be. Maybe that will help. Okay. All right. I'm imagining the echo should be gone now.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We are here on the very last day of the month, February 28th. We had some PCE numbers this morning. They came in, I guess what you would say worse than expected, but that is actually a relatively decent thing. People are holding on to hope that as the economy doesn't do as well, that may force the hand of rate cuts. As you've seen over the last several days, though, it appears that the market doesn't care. They're selling. I know that we kind of talked a little bit about the potential for November lows. What was that? Was that earlier this week or was that last week? In any event. And it looks like a very real possibility. What I'm noticing is Trump hasn't said anything about the market declines, which I find kind of curious because he's got something to say about everything. I do know this week we discussed the 596 level on SPY, and if it didn't hold, that 585 could be quick, and we saw that materialize yesterday. So with that being said, I don't trust too much of anything to the upside right now. This looks like methodical and sustained selling, and like we're going to have to try and find a bottom. I will share my I've got QQQ up right now. So if we look at the Qs on the daily, we've given up the 2150. We closed right at the 7-1. And just looking at the November low, it was around 487 somewhere. So just about this 200 day. Borrowing some really good news in terms of tariffs or anything like that, I think we keep falling. I think they are in a position where they're going to continue selling every pop. You don't get this kind of, like if you're looking at the daily, we have to go back to January to find the kind of volume a month ago, the kind of volume, and that was by volume on January the 27th. Um, about once a month, you get really high volumes like that. Um, whew, I'm not encouraged. I also kind of marked up the SPX chart. It's not being cooperative, but we could see 57. Let me see on the monthly. I think we determined that November low. That looks like a wick. Yep. We could come all the way back down to 57.71 here on SPX. And unless something happens, it can be quick, like over 2 or 3 sessions. And I think we're also seeing this on, like, all the charts are starting to look the same on the monthly. You look at the December or the November low on Tesla, that's 252.78. We could get there. We could definitely get there. And you're going to see the same thing there. Everything is making pretty much the same pattern. Um, I know we like to talk about finding the outliers in the market that are going to go, but honestly, no matter how good a company you are, when the market is selling like this, it is very difficult to sustain an upward move, no matter how good your stock is.
Even I want to add to that is even with the outliers, they are not moving. So there are some things that are positive in the watch list, but they're not moving anywhere near as much as the stuff that's moving to the downside is moving. So, um, for me at this point, it's not even really worth looking for those things. It's finding bottoms. Um, and trying to pick strike prices between where we are, preferably at the money, and the potential bottoms on this stuff. Like right now, I'm looking at monthly charts and it's not looking good. Like I see on a monthly 236 ish possible for Tesla. And the candle that I'm looking at, this current candle, there's nothing about it. Candles, stochastic, divergence, everything. There's nothing about any of it that says that there's any stop um, in sight. Now, on a daily, it is at the 200 moving average, but again, the 6 to 8 candles preceding today's daily candle, none of them give any indication that there's any turnaround in sight. And so I just think that we were in an inflated market and that this is the perfect opportunity to come in with all of this regulatory tariff nonsense and produce the move that needed to be produced in the market anyway to give it that reset.
Yeah. Um, so just, putting that into perspective, there's plenty of downside left to go in pretty much a lot of stocks. All of the ones that even, some of these, but I will also say, let's be clear, Leslie mentioned the fear and greed index the other day and was like, oh, I haven't seen anyone use that in a while. People will sell at lows instead of buying at the lows. And so I'm going to be using this as an opportunity to take a look at things that I want to dollar cost average into or add some more here. I do think this is, while it was swift, I think it's temporary. And I think that there will be some good value to be had once we establish that bottom for the rise back to the top. So we're going to make our money on puts where, so we're going to make money that way. We're going to make money by purchasing shares at the bottom and letting those grow. And then we're going to also make money with the options on the way back up. And this is why you have us here every day.
I don't know. For me, this feels very reminiscent of 2020. Um, and on SPX, the monthly chart is just getting started. That level there is 5643, and that sounds to me like a level very close to one that you had. But again, it feels very reminiscent of 2020, where we got that fast and furious drop, and then an equally fast V-shaped correction.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, let me move this fib here. It is looking ominous for downside potential because, I mean, I just said, what did I say? 5463. If I move my fib, I could see it getting even lower than that.
Yeah,
And
I'm
this is
just looking at. I think the initial target becomes the November low, though.
hmm, let me see where that is. I'm looking at Apple right now. And
Oh, which is odd. Not odd that you're looking at Apple. Just the whole Apple was like the bright light in the market all of last week.
but now the formation that I'm looking at, and I'm looking at I'm looking at monthly and weekly charts. Now that formation is definitely there. And I'm just looking at levels that we could go to. 212, I think, would be my target on, unless we see something drastically positive happen. I will be targeting 212 on Apple. I think we talked about Nvidia levels this morning too.
We did. It's just as, I don't want to say craptastic, but it's just it's just as ominous. Where are my candles so
Mhm.
small?
I could see 108. Like today, 108 on Nvidia. There was some potential for a little pop. I think you said earlier they were liking the PCE numbers, perhaps.
Yeah, but
But
I don't. I mean, a pop of $1 or two to set up for the drop. Like, look at this chart. I know you see it.
hmm,
It's
there was
like,
something that you said earlier though. They're selling every pop, and it brought me to mind of how in the mentorship and in the trainings we talk about when you see stuff trade up into those 2150 moving averages, that's your opportunity to sell. And so that certainly was happening with the sell every pop. And so that's what you guys should be looking for today. Um, on your mid or low time frame. At this point, I prefer the mid time frame. So if you're doing daily 4 hour, 1 hour, um, on your 4 hour or your hourly, look for a trade up into your 2150 moving average, and that is your opportunity to sell.
mm,
Let us refresh this list. One thing that
I
is
don't have
curious to me,
Nvidia going back into the 2150. Not on
say it
the.
again.
I said I don't have Nvidia trading back up into the 2150 today.
It
What is
depends on what time frame you look at. Mm.
so daily? Definitely not. The
Oh
four
no,
hour, the 2150 is up here at about 136 on
I'm
the.
looking at the hourly, and I do
Oh,
think
on the
that
hourly.
yeah, that the 125-ish level is not out of the realm of possibility, and that is that little boost of hopium that
Maybe.
retail traders need to think that that's a buying opportunity. But at that 2150, and a lot of people trade lower time frames. They might be looking at 4 hour, 1 hour, 15. Um, I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't necessarily trust the 15. I would want to see if it holds. Um, 2150, 200 at the 15. But if not, then you need to move up to the next higher time frame and watch the moving averages there. But yeah, I'm convinced at this point that those uh retraces into the moving averages are selling opportunities. I got some floors. Let's see what take a look at Amazon because Amazon has had some really positive news. Hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's about to give us a bounce maybe to the 200. And I'm talking about the hourly time frame. So that would be all the way up at 225.
Do you want to
For
share
my
your chart?
charts, I can. Um, it's almost time for us to start getting logged into accounts and what have you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not. I bought. What did I buy? At the end of the day, I figured we might bounce a little bit, so I an SPX 5900. But I got a really good price on that, so I'll probably take 5% on that and close it because we didn't see the sustained bounce that I thought we
You just start breaking up again. The only thing that
might.
I oh
So it was a little bit of a risk. Uh,
that whole for me anyway, that whole stretch of whatever you were saying was jumbled. And we on the same internet today, so I wonder
you're
how
very
that was.
clear.
Okay.
You
So
were
the
very
only thing I have is I had 280 Tesla puts yesterday, and I took partial profit by rolling them to 270s. And so I'll be watching to see what that does at the open, but let me draw some lower time frame fibs to try to get an idea of where I might want to start looking at taking profit. Um it's Tesla. Thursday is Tesla day, so 267. It's possible we are at that 200 moving average though, but I'm hoping for 267. And if everything that we've said this morning is true about November lows, that would put us much deeper, around 220, 210.
I think it
So
could absolutely get there. And I think the other thing, like, I don't know, the sharp V-shaped correction, I think is a very good point. Folks, don't be too short. Just like you shouldn't be too long. Never be too short either, because we've seen some face ripping reversals here. All it
one
would
thing
take.
I'm ever cognizant of is that all it takes is one press conference. All it
Mhm.
takes is one headline, one statement from the White House, and everything turn around, albeit probably temporarily. Um, so just ever aware of that all it takes is 5 words and everything could go careening back in the other direction.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Everything exciting is on the downside.
I mean, it's crazy because it's almost like pick a stock, any stock. Like, what's your pleasure today?
Hmm. I want to look at this a little bit. 23, 24. And I'm on the weekly. So with Lunar, doing some research into Lunar and trying to figure out other than just the obvious, what is going on with the stock. And what I noted, where is that these moves, so this is one of the launches, are over a sustained period and they kind of coincide with mission milestones. And so, based on the last one, I think it's about 8 days. Let me use my handy measuring tool here. 8 bars, 13 days. So I'll be looking for this move to develop over the next 2 weeks, basically, into something more positive.
And just
I
by the way, as I'm looking at just some other charts, Carvana is already below the November low. The November low on Carvana was like 220. This January low looks interesting though at 170. Is that one 173 ish? Hmm.
so from like I had a conversation with this stock about with Russell about this stock because this is one of his favorites, and the conversation was, oh, this is a cup and handle, and we were probably, I would guess, in December. And so we kind of agreed that the handle has to form and that would mean trade lower. And so based on from top to bottom, everything that I'm looking at 126.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me do some shuffling. But that, I mean, like Natasha said, all you got to do is pick one that has a decent range between its current price and so 149 is a potential level, but that's a hell of a lot of range. You could take Carvana and one other down for, let's say, about $70 worth of range and relax, sit on your hands, as Natasha likes to say.
I like sitting on my hands. I do. Listen, it serves me well. Serves me well, keeps me safe. Oof.
Hmm. What is, I think Apple might be a good opportunity. We got 4 minutes because Apple is still near the top. I don't think that this is going to hold it. Um,
Mhm,
and if it doesn't, you've got all that range from where we at 236 to
mhm.
212, 217. And so everything is an opportunity at this point, other than stuff that, like Natasha said, is already at November lows. Mhm.
I mean, I see Carvana, even though it has reached November lows. Like I said, it had a nice little pop, and then yeah.
Let me check some news, see if there's anything. Um,
Oh, I know we did. I don't know if I mentioned it here, but I know we talked about it this morning. The comment that Macron, the Prime Minister of France, left the White House saying that he had very little hope of working something out with us on tariffs. So, and that came through this morning.
what was my, oh, okay, we have 9:45. What is it? Chicago
Oh,
PMI. So what do
Chicago
you
PMI.
expect, if anything, to come out of Chicago PMI?
Nothing. Nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing. They're intent on selling. You might get a tiny pop, but I don't think so. Like nothing is sustaining a bounce. Nothing. Nothing. Do you have anything green in your watch list?
A
Like,
few little things, but like I said, they are not green enough. Number one, I would say that 90% of the watch list is red, and which is so unusual. And usually because it's tech and it's innovation, there'll be something that's like crazy, up 30%, 40% all the time. And today that's just
mhm.
not the case. Um, you see it 5.97%, so 6%. Um, but for the most part, everything is kind of flat.
Yeah.
Paying attention to when Even earnings are not even, not even producing a pop in a lot of cases. Let me look back at Nvidia.
Yeah, it's not looking good. We got 1 minute till showtime.
Hmm. That earnings was the ultimate setup. Now that I'm looking at all of the factors, it was on the 200. It had a reversal setup and it just crashed. All right, let me get my stuff together. I'm gonna go pour some coffee because the only thing I'm
I
worried
need a
about
cup of coffee.
is Tesla. Well, let's take a little intermission. I'm gonna go on mute for a sec.
Okay.
You want me to bring you some coffee?
Oh, that would be lovely.
Oh, I'm such a sweet person. Okay, hold on a sec. Let me mute.
Come on in. Come on in.
I didn't realize y'all had a whole damn sitting area in here.
Mm-hmm. Just as expected, nothing is really catching a bid anywhere. It doesn't seem like. Mm, looks like we want to continue print and look at Meta. It's just woo. Like,
Loving this open on Tesla. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see.
so I think I'm just content to sit here and watch my little Carvana puts. Um, yeah, some App 11 puts would have been great. But I think Carvana can go. Jesus. Like, just look at it. It's like blood in the water.
This is starting to become a little concerning to me. And so now I'm looking, and it's on the screen. Social Security will begin cutting jobs soon. It could lay off up to half of its workforce.
Wow.
I think that UBI is much closer than most of the world has anticipated. Um, but what do you do after unemployment runs out? What do you do after you've laid off half of the damn government?
I don't know. But it does not look like we want to stop here.
Mm-mm.
Hmm. It does not. Ooh. Where did these close? Mm, mm. I mean, just straight down too. I
If you
don't think
think about the
I don't think
big
that
picture,
5770 is a stretch. Let's see if we get a bounce, but like, why the hell is Carvana green? Why? They just don't want to let Carvana die. It's okay.
so if you think about the economy as a whole right now, and instead of taking these bite-sized takes that we've been taking, everybody sounds so extreme, but everybody's getting laid off. Tariffs are going to make prices go up. Inflation is already that's like the chief complaint that I see on social media is the cost of different essential goods. This is pretty bad.
It is.
It's pretty bad for our entire economy.
This might be that pop, though. You see how everything is kind of trying to form up.
Hmm. I was watching Nvidia for, I'm thinking closer to was I looking at the 5 minute chart? Closer to the 200 moving average, up around 125. Um, I may get another sell opportunity.
Maybe some we don't know. They buying the hell out this Carvana. My puts were up, now they're down. Whatever. Not by a lot. And when they start selling everything later, I don't know, on the 15, it's at the moving averages. Eh, it's bouncing off the 618 on the hourly. It's trading below. It's got some work to do on the 4 hour.
Hmm. Damn, Carvana.
Right.
I could see some things run into who reported? Was it Marathon or Riot that reported and gave that nice fake out? Um and then turn right back around. Oh, sure. I could see everything kind of making a go at the 200 moving averages on lower time frames and then sell.
Mhm.
Let me see what Tesla is doing because that's that cousin you gotta watch.
Mm,
It was almost in the money. But again, I think it's going to trade up and then sell off again. See what this news is. Damn, second worst month ever.
on Tesla?
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Second worst month on record. Crab is just holding on. I don't think that I think it's safe in this range. Knock on wood. But I don't think we'll venture too far from $5 in either direction.
On
Anytime
grab.
soon. Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is the. So we've already.
Let's look at some. Let me look at some consumer defensive stuff.
I'm gonna pop 580 on a um 580 on a spy put wouldn't be too bad. And the 5800s on SPX aren't bad, they're just expensive. But they can go a long, 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 long way.
You talking about zero DTE or what expiration date?
Yeah, zero DTE or any DTE you want, but zero DTE, the 5800s, zero DTE are like they're $600. Um,
That's not bad. When you start talking about expensive, I'm thinking you talking about 2,600. That's not
for
bad.
a zero DTE though, that's high.
I mean, not if it moves in your direction. There you go.
Very true.
Um, I think that's about the average. I would say probably for the contracts that I take.
And look at good
Six.
old Carvana trying to go back negative again after this little pop. Come on, girl, do what you do.
I just looked at about 4 or 5 things in a row that are giving bounce vibes off of this 200 area. So, what is
Sit on your
this?
hands. Sit on your hands.
Yep.
I said though, I don't hate the spy 582s, 583s, even the spy 580s is there relatively inexpensive going out. So like, yeah, the March 5th expiration is only 350. I think those could double or triple today. Yeah.
Put your chart up because I've taken mine down. I just scrolling through the list, really
Okay.
trying to see what's at extremes.
No,
Mm.
you just look at. Let me draw this from. Do I want to draw it from? No, sure. I'm gonna draw it from the November low. It's a point of interest.
Yeah, this is gonna be another one of those days where let me see Tesla again. Where they give you that false sense of hope, I think.
Uh-huh.
It was just a matter of time before Tesla cratered.
Absolutely. Why? Why am I just getting new fibs without having to do anything? So this November low here is 570. We're sitting here at this 585, but um trying to do a little bit of a bounce. I don't think it's sustainable. I think 580 is 583 and then 580. Very reasonable, very realistic.
So we're looking at Spire, I'm looking at SPX, but I'm looking at the daily chart, right? Um,
And now it's let's see. They just that's what I'm talking about. So now you're up 13 points.
Hold on, listen, hear me out. Am I muted?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, so SPX on the daily, fib drawn from January 13th up
Mm-hmm.
to the high on January 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the level that we turned around at. Look at your stochastic. And then I would say that it's looking like we might have an up day. I wouldn't hang my hat on that, but just right now, what I'm seeing with divergence, um, the stochastic on the daily, the level that we turning around at, we might go back to 59.50 today.
Well, and I sold my 5,900 at open just because I'm I'm not about to do all this drawdown and whatnot here, but I don't know. It kept bouncing yesterday. Remember, it bounced
Mhm.
a few times and straight on down.
I think today might be that day. Um, yeah, I'm looking at Tesla on a daily. It's at the 200. It's turning around at the 886 level. It's got a double bottom on the stochastic. So today might be that day that we get that dead cat bounce.
I don't particularly trust it.
I mean, I don't trust nothing at this point. At this point, who can you trust? But I'm just saying that for to kind of counter the fact that we've been saying just pick a put. Um, so be cautious because today might be that day that. And I was thinking about this earlier too, is that you and I talked about it in the she shed this morning. How many days has it been? And you're like, yeah, it's been about a week. And so in my mind, I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, yep, now retail is convinced that they should start shorting. And generally, what happens is once they have beat it into the psyche of retail enough, you could trust these shorts. You could trust these shorts. The market's short. The market's short. Then they take it in the other direction.
Yep.
So watch for that.
Now, I'm gonna need some more movement before I'm convinced of anything.
Oh, I'm not even looking at my you know, don't have an idea of what I want to do. I'm watching Tesla because I am in that 570 still, but I'm not eager to jump into anything today.
Literally, the only thing I'm holding is Carvana puts. That's it. It's a big gets, but it got down to 209 last week before the bounce. So 215 seemed like a good. And there was that little bounce on Nvidia you were talking about, but I don't know how. Yeah.
Let's see. Look. Hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's got some more win in its sales just because of the stochastic, but the candles, I just looked
Mhm.
at two different charts where the candle is saying nope, going back down.
Yep.
We'll see. I'm in no rush.
Me either. It's like,
I am watching this middle section of the watch list where things are just kind of flat.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we go to the 200 moving average today.
The 200 moving average on what?
Just in general, but I was looking at I had talked about Nvidia. Ooh,
Okay.
that's a nice. I've been watching Team. But I think it's at like 125-ish. There's got to be another 15, 5. Yeah. So 1 to 5. Somewhere between that 200 moving average, which is at 122, and the fib level at 125.4. But you got to be like hawking the news to see what is being said.
Mm-hmm.
So let me take a look.
Are lovely politicians buying anything?
Oh, let's check. Probably not. Let me see. Uh, Dang, I don't even have bar chart open. I'm such a creature of habit that if anything changes, it changes everything. Usually I have 3 different tabs of bar chart open at all times. So if you want to find this, you would go to the investing tab and it's in there. But the last thing was that State Street sale, and that was somebody's wife on the 18th. Recent buying. And I told you, it's just interesting to me that these people don't give a darn about um, entries. And so recent buying was Adobe, Apple, Devon Energy, Goldman Sachs, Meta, Microsoft. So everything that's in deep declines now. Uh, Palantir, UPS, and then where is it?
Palantir 75 is not unreasonable.
On.
Palantir.
They were shilling Palantir so hard. Palantir is another one that looks like it goes up to the lower time frame moving averages today. But so that is that. Ooh, I'm not showing my chart, but that the daily chart set up on Palantir is nice, and it looks like 86.22 might be a potential level. But if you factor in the political trading that I just talked about, they bought. Let me get those dates. Did all of this buying on February 12th. I'm pretty sure that them and their brokers and everybody involved would have known that this was coming.
Mm,
Agreed so far?
how would they have known? I guess I'm kind of with why would you think that they knew?
Do you think that politicians were sitting in the White House hopeful about what Trump would say and do, or what Marcon and the Mexican president would say and do? Do you think that they were with us wondering and with no idea of how that was going to pan out?
I mean, I guess if you're thinking about it that way, it's a good point. I don't know. Don't know.
I kind of don't. And so these are these are my thought processes, right? I don't think that they were blind. I don't think, based on the timing of these trades that I'm looking at, I don't think that they're ever blind, because it's just always such a miraculous and profitable coincidence. Um, I don't know. I think it's significant that instead of selling the Mag 7, they were buying the Mag 7 throughout February. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But that is something that I've definitely started to pay more attention to. And I'm going to pay deep attention to that, because now that I've said it out loud, all throughout February, they've been buying the Mag 7. So to me, that's kind of like, shit, are we about to get higher highs?
I think it's all a real possibility. Look, you shake out all this stuff, and they load at the bottom, load some more at the bottom. Though you said they didn't seem to have much respect for an entry.
Mm-mm.
It's a
Never though.
possibility.
Never. We'll see. This is going to be a case study. I think I'm sure our thought processes are different um, around how we look at or how we develop our trade ideas. And so I'm considering a slew of factors, and politician trading just being one of them, and probably the fact that I spent some time as a therapist lends to me thinking, what the hell are they thinking? So that's part of it for me. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of the same candle with the long red wick.
Hmm. Something better catch Palantir. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think so. I think that like Tesla, Palantir is due. I think that that is one of the more hyped stocks, and they
Oh yeah,
hyped
this is
it
what
up.
I think a 75 put on that was. I mean, 10 minutes ago, I probably should have taken that myself. It's probably up quite nicely.
Yeah, because
Um,
73 looks like fair game.
hmm Nvidia, I don't think it's gonna hold. Well, it's not holding. Ooh,
Hmm.
ooh.
I'm not convinced yet. It traded right. I see this. I watch for this day after day, where it'll trade into the 21 moving average, then fake off, and then take out the next one and create kind of a inverse head and shoulders. Then head to the 200, collecting buyers all along the way, and then tank at the 200 again.
Hmm.
Four reasons to stay away. So in the corner of my trading view, it says four reasons not to buy Nvidia right now. Uh, I'm looking at seven reasons without having to read that article. But damn, if you look at the daily candle, the daily candle, the daily chart, Natasha, that doji down there, it's not a doji, it's a morning star, I believe. Not a
Now,
morning star,
which chart are we looking at?
NVIDIA daily chart.
Let me go there.
A morning star right off of the 886 on the daily chart. So I'm chilling. I gotta see what's gonna happen. Um, I'm hoping that what happens is we get a few green candles, and then I can trade the rest of the sell off. 9:57.
That's what I want to look at. Oh, good. Come back and do what you're supposed to. Uh, ooh, Palantir is just ugly. What was I looking at? Oh, I wanted to look at China because it would
Stop.
stand to reason. So listen, if we're using our brain, right, or just logic and kind of walking through some things. So if we're gonna if we're gonna redo all these tariffs on China and it's gonna be a whole bunch of back and forth because China's not just gonna take our shit. Crap, they're not. They're gonna do something else. They're not gonna let us just screw them over. So I think some of the it's not like uh PDD, they've actually kind of
Baba has started gapping down at the
mm,
open instead of gapping up.
mm-hmm.
But I do think that that is such a well matched pair. The Chinese president and our president, boy, listen,
Mhm.
this could go on for the next 4 decades if they live that long.
Okay. Right, because he's not just going to roll over and take it.
But it doesn't seem like any of them are. The governor of Maine ain't rolling over and taking it at this point.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't think that people. I think that people dislike him so much that it's a lot of things. It's brownie points. It's
I'm surprised that Coinbase is not down more. I'm sorry, and that actually MicroStrategy is up
let's see what Bitcoin is doing.
a whole whopping 82,000 from 79 overnight. Like,
I
yeah,
think Bitcoin goes back to 95 from here.
possibly. But I don't think today. I don't think over this weekend.
I don't know why not. I don't know why not. I think it's possible. Shit. The ATR on Bitcoin is $4,000 a day.
Okay, so that could be a thing. I don't know.
So we've gone from 79 to 83 just so far today. So I think that might be why coin and MicroStrategy are not down more.
Possibly.
I
And
will be.
if you pay attention to what's happening here on SPX, it keeps hitting this 72-ish, 58, 72-ish level. We're going to see if it can get above it, but it seems to keep getting stopped right here.
I will be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. So I see some of you guys are on here in the chat. Does anybody have a chart request, or does anybody have any questions about something they're trading or maybe looking to trade? I think we're just kind of stuck here, carving out some things. I don't think this ends well, at least not shorter term. Definitely don't think. Definitely don't think that it ends well. So I would say, like, right now we are just sitting on hands. It's nothing else to do. Nothing looks super great, with the amount of sell that has occurred. It would be like, so we were down 94 SPX points yesterday. I need to see at least 40 or 50 before I could even entertain feeling like we're sustaining going back up. Because I definitely think we're at a level where we could just crash right back down. It's just not up enough, in my personal opinion. And Apple did just go green. And is this, like we just talked about, the market's way of getting you excited that things are going up, only to turn around and rug pull you? I'm so not convinced. I'd be looking for at least 40% of the move, like in an index, 40% of yesterday's move, before I was convinced that we could sustain. But if you can see my SPX chart sitting here on the 15 minutes, Here's your opening handle. Next one, next one. It's not, it doesn't have the momentum you would want to see for playing the upside on anything other than a scalp in my mind.
I'm back, by the way. I don't believe in
You're back.
even so. One of my philosophies is take the long trade. Like if you know that it's just going to be a short up move, followed by a more sustained down move, just wait for the damn down move.
It depends. Like for me, so like because they like with SPX, because of the way that it moves, like I don't know, I made $2,500 yesterday morning in what, about 12
I
minutes?
think that we have to factor in. It's only fair if we factor in that most people are not trading like you. Most people. There are
Yeah.
some that are. I'm aware of them. They're in our mentorship that are taking those quick moves for significant gains on stocks like that. But most people are probably not able to watch for the 30 minutes to an hour that they need to watch to be able to catch something like that. And so we got to just be mindful of who we talking to. And that's not taking anything from them. I'm just, I think, a little more conscious
No,
of.
listen, it definitely took me a while to get there, just to even be comfortable in and out. Like I don't, you said it the other day, it was like um being in awe of yourself. Like there was a point where I've had some really good trades, and just like because it moves so quick, like standing there in awe of myself, and the next thing you know it starts reversing or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
um mhm.
Yeah.
All in awe of myself, but we're not, it doesn't seem like we are getting any real traction here on anything, at least not to the upside. Poor little Tink Tink Apple tried it. They was positive for like 8 whole seconds. Did anybody get positive today? No, but still struggling on the struggle bus. I think they are. What I will say though is, I do believe that they are going to, very much the way that they did yesterday. Because what, one, two, three. So maybe it's the third that they go into effect. I think they are probably going to sell the hell out of this market on for at the end of the day. Now, how low it goes, I don't know. Do they let it live a little? I don't know, but
I've seen people on
it's,
YouTube talking about this sell off that we're seeing now for 6 months, a year. This guy, Ryan Walker, has been talking about his, what do you call them? Oh my God, Elliott waves. I'm talking about his Elliott waves
oh,
for a
okay.
whole year predicting this. Um,
I mean, if you predict it for a whole year, it'll be right. But you and I just sat here and had this conversation the other day. It was like, all right, we keep making these lower lows. Like, this is what it look. You know what I mean? This is what it looks like. It didn't take a year to predict. You could look at what was presented to you. It's not a not something that took a year to figure out.
no, but I think that um it's toying around. So let me look at this date here. It toying around at these highs. So there was a period between July and September that it just toyed with these highs, and then it acted like it wanted to sell off, bounced up, created new highs, and then in the period between November and now, it did a lot of faking us out, and then now it's finally showed its hand. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm looking at 59, 5908, 5950 possible today on SPX.
I was expecting a bounce, which is why I positioned in calls, but I realized very quickly that I should take my couple little dollars and go because this, this action right here where it keeps, and it was for Monday, but where you keep bouncing up and down these 5, 10 points, it is premium killer. I prefer nice clean
Hmm.
moves in one direction or the other.
So the basis for that, if that were to occur, is there's got to be some positive movement in the most heavily weighted stocks. Tesla's moving up. Probably should have done something about that 570 a while ago, but I'm gonna see what it does at the 200. I maintain. I think we're gonna see a lot of bouncing today, a lot of hitting 200 SMAs, um, and then maybe we return to bullishness after that. But I am seeing some indications of um bullishness today and some stuff. It's not the kind of thing where if you a scalper, I would be looking for some scalps to the upside. All of these wicks that I'm looking at on the bottom of these candles, let me look at value. But they suggest to me that you're going to get a quick movement to the upside. I need to pare this down to a more manageable watch list. I'm going to separate it by sector and some by industry so that when I'm looking to trade something, if I'm looking to trade energy, I can just go to the energy list.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Now I'm thinking the ideal scout would have been Tesla. Let me see. Tesla is up from a low of 273 to 284 already. That would have been the ideal scalp. And I think the target on it for somebody that feels like being quick fingers is 285. Not 285, I'm sorry, 295. So you could wait for a little retrace down to the 2150 moving average and take Tesla from that would be 282 ish to 295. I may do that today.
I'm gonna hold my Carvana. I'm not really trading anything else. I'm gonna hold my Carvana puts, and I'm gonna hold my Carvana puts. But I have time on those because there's Carvana actually just shouldn't be up.
That's how I
Like
felt about
it
Tesla
just
so often. But I've been looking for a home run all week. Tesla 280s yesterday were decent. But I want to find something to close the week, and it may be Tesla again. Almost feel obligated to leave our viewers with some definitive course of action for the day.
well, you tell me what you got because me personally, I I don't know. I feel like because let me just Google. I thought I heard the 4th of March is when the tariffs went
You
into
are
effect.
correct. That's the date. Right now,
Okay,
this could change over the weekend, but that's the date at the moment.
correct. And but that uncertainty into the weekend, I feel like is going to cause a sell at the end of the day.
That's a lot of time between now and the end of the day, though.
Well, yes. So if we're leaving with, leaving our viewers with something, A, be aware that there's very likely to be a sell off at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Take your profit. Um, and I just wouldn't be swinging anything.
Mm-mm. That's why I said like trying to hit a home run, trying to catch a home run. I think that given that perspective, I don't disagree with you that it makes sense for them to pull a Green Day and elicit some optimism and then sell off. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of I kind of see the makings of that with again all of these long red wicks. So if you are in stuff, this might be your opportunity to get out of that stuff with small loss, minimal loss, small profit, whatever, and just kind of recalibrate for Monday. I'm seeing. Let me put some things up here real quick. Yeah, okay. So I'm just what has got me on this track is I'm seeing a lot of I'm not gonna look at any of the little stuff that most people don't look at, but I'm seeing a lot of double bottoms off of 200 moving averages. And it's kind of just the follow on of this one is off the 50 obviously, but a lot of follow on of the setups that I talked about 2 days ago. So the second leg forming to make double bottoms. Let's see. Yep. So Intel coming off that 21 moving average, and these are daily charts that gives me the idea that we're gonna have a green day. And then what happens at the end of the day, I think what Natasha said is likely. I like this setup. I like it seems like we could get a potential engulfing candle there. It's not a $5 worth of range, it's decent. Coin. Here's a Bitcoin. That long red wick. Um looks to me like it's setting us up for 87 again and maybe 94ish, which are gonna have obvious effects on coin, marathon, riot, microstrategy. I don't even know if I've ever seen a microstrategy chart. Let's look.
It's a wild chart.
Look at it though. Like, yeah, Bitcoin is going back to those levels that I just said, albeit temporarily. And this thing is going to bounce and give a um an engulfing candle today. I would think just based off the double bottom setup. I don't know. Somebody might call it three soldiers, whatever. I don't focus so much on terminology. I just focus on knowing what the patterns do. So that's what that looks like. Let's look at coin. Coin has gone basically to the 886. Almost closed this gap over here. So this is another one where we could get all the way to the 200 moving average. So about $20 away before we return to bullishness, bearishness. I don't know. The president needs to come and say something. He needs to go live for the people.
He needs to, but he's not going to. Um, and there's a bunch of people upset about it. Like I said, he's just been noticeably absent, and
You did say that, but look at this. Tesla bouncing off the 200. That means something. That means something. So I guess that is my message is just cautioning you that after all of these red candles, retail is convinced that now is the time to sell. And so now we've started selling here and they're going to take the market back in the other direction. And I know if you think about the words that I just said, you have many times over your trading career. Watch the series of red candles form. And then when you get that one last one that convinces you, all right, this is the time to sell, they pull it away. I think that's where we are in the cycle.
So Brooke would like to see if we can look at APLD.
She'll be down in like Miss Brenda looking for you. She said she's just wondering where you went. Um, but yeah, that's where I think we are today. And then it'll be so convincing. This is just my theory. It'll be so convincing that people will jump out and buy. And then Monday, all hell will break loose again. So what you do with that information, because there's a lot packed into that. Do you take trades to the upside and exit at the end of the day? That's a possibility. Do you just wait patiently and sell at the end of the day? That's another possibility.
Hey, Leslie, did you hear me? Somebody would like us to look at APLD.
Okay. I didn't hear you. I don't know how I missed that, but so
That's all right.
these little things, these pop-ups down here get on my nerves, but I'm trying to find where to even anchor a fit. I go here. It's very clean. So I might even do this. So we produced the move that opened up the fib, traded back into the 886, 50, and these levels, it's kind of almost probably sounds like there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm saying. But people who are with us on Wednesdays know what I'm talking about because these are the levels that we talk about all the time. So from the 886 to the 50, got turned around. We have created essentially, in my opinion, not even in my opinion, this is a freaking inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And then we turned around and made it almost to the first profit target. And now where do we find ourselves again? Back at the 50, which is also the 200 moving average, with the cluster of the other moving averages. So on a lower time frame, you got that same setup that I've been looking at. Apple has this setup and some others. But at least for today, and I would hope a longer period, apply digital data processing services that we can hit that first profit target of 14. Let me read what they do and see how everything that's going on is going to impact their ability to make money. Okay. I don't know why I didn't remember that. That's the reason I'm in this. Um that's weird. I don't know. I think that's an interesting conversation to have is what is any of this? What impact does any of this have on the need for data centers?
I don't think it's impacted at all.
Exactly. I've been saying like they're not gonna just stop working on. Oh, never mind. We're not gonna do quantum computers right now because the president is throwing a tantrum. Or no, we're not going to. We're not going to develop AI any further because tariffs. Not gonna happen. But I think that it is gonna require us to put some time on stuff or buy shares because of that fear and greed index. I think people are fearful. And like Natasha said, people sell at the bottom. Fortunately, they're selling to someone. So don't sell your shares to BlackRock. Look,
Right.
please don't do that. But might I? So now that girl, I could talk for the next 40 hours. Because I'm always thinking. So is this a good price to buy shares of one of only a handful straight data center companies?
Well,
And
and
my
we were
thing is
just
that,
talking about that today too. Like who with the quantum computing and the data set, like what does that need look like? So
yep, and I think the even more beautiful part of that is maybe not, is that they're all acquisition targets for Amazon and the other Mag 7, but you know how Amazon gets down. So let's look at that. Is this a good price at which mm, I would think so. I would think that around this level, I'm gonna look at, yeah, I might pick up some shares here. I know we going back to 14. I just think that it may be a matter of a few months at this point, but maybe not. Maybe not. So they probably weren't asking about long-term perspectives or even thinking about long-term perspectives. Let me just dial it in. I think we get back to $9 today, possibly 8.82 to $9, somewhere in there today. The ATR says that we could be back at the highs next week with the right headline. I have to think about that further and look into that further. So with Amazon developing a Ocelot, quantum computer, who else does that directly impact or even indirectly impact? Either negatively or positively, because obviously they're in Nvidia's supply chain. I think you have some different insight into this.
no, we're trying to figure out some of the government supply chain because we do know that
That's making me think though, it just popped in my head like we need to be buying Amazon.
possibly.
Because where are the contracts going to go? They're already in bed with the government,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you're the government, how many beds do you want to be in um, with your private data? You're just going to go where you already are, right?
I would say so because like they're building like those data centers, those skiffs and whatnot. They're actually building those. So and specifically to house, um, in this instance that we were talking about was like NSA stuff, but um, I don't know how that the NSA ties in with the AWS stuff, but that's an NSA contract for sure. Um, So if you've got contracts with NSA, then you're probably, I don't want to say limitless, but that's um, one of the hardest clearances to get.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you've informed me that they're not just handing them out like hot dogs at a kids party. And so if they're already in bed with Amazon, then they're just going to give any new money for new technology to Amazon. Among others, you got your LMTs and your other defense
Hmm.
contractors. But
But not
that,
on the scale. Like your LMTs, they're not building. Well, actually, no, Lockheed Martin will make buildings. So, I used to work for Lockheed for a while, contracting Social Security, and they actually built out whole office buildings, like from the ground up, to house their stuff. Um, so, yeah,
Mm,
let's definitely think on that some more over the weekend. Maybe have some other things to share because we're bumping up at 10:28 now.
yeah. So I'm just gonna leave you guys with look for this setup. I talked about it probably 2 days ago with the setup off of the 200. And now you can see a lot of examples of where it is starting to pan out. That's not one of them, but Bitcoin is another one. So I would be looking for that setup to look for things to trade to the upside. And if things are below the 200, like this one, I would be looking for trades into the moving averages for an opportunity to sell. That is what I'll be looking for. But my interest now has moved to Amazon for the rest of the day. So we will probably not have this live on Monday because training starts at 8 o'clock on Monday.
It does. So Monday, Tuesday.
And the jewelry still out on Wednesday because I think I travel early in the morning on Wednesday.
Yeah, you got to be at the airport by like 5 a.m.
We'll let you guys know. All right. Have a great rest of the trading day and a good weekend.
Awesome sauce.